First of all, let me say we can never trust Liberal, Labor or the Greens again. They've deserted you, right? It's Liberal and Labor that have given you $1 trillion of debt. We know all about the pandemic and vaccines, and there's a lot of very good speakers talking to you about that. Tonight I want to tell you where we're going to, what the real agenda was. While we were busy with the vaccine and terrible things were happening in our country, the government ran up over $1 trillion of debt. And that really means that interest rates are going to rise on home loans. It means we're going to go from 2 to 4%. At the moment, 40% of Australians are under mortgage stress. When it goes from 2 to 4%, 60% of Australians lose their homes. When it goes from 4 to 6%, 80% of all Australians will be homeless. Then the government will have to say they'll bring in a lease system, buy the houses off the banks and lease them back to you. You'll be happy, but you'll own nothing. That's what's going to happen. And we've got to stop it. And that's why our party wants to regain their powers in the Constitution over our interest rates that the government used to have back in the 1980s. We want to amend the Reserve Bank Act and say that interest rates are set by the government and what's in Australia's interest. And we want to freeze home loan interest rates at 3% so that we can protect all of Australians with their homes and what they've got for the next 5 years. And we don't want to hide the $1 trillion of debt, we want to deal with it. There's over $50 trillion of investment in manufacturing in Asia. It's all dependent on Australian iron ore. We want to bring in a licence for iron ore exports, just like there was in the 1960s with Bob Menzies. We want to charge 15% from all the importers of Australian iron ore in China, Japan and everywhere else. And over 20 years, that'll pay back the $1 trillion debt. We don't want you to have to pay it back. We want to deal with it now so our country is not handicapped, so we can go forward in the future knowing we've got a strong balance sheet and a good future for ourselves and our children. And then just like John Curtin in World War II brought back our troops from the Middle East to defend our country, we want to do the same thing with $1 trillion of Australian super that's invested on the New York Stock Exchange and the London Stock Exchange. We want to legislate to bring that money back to Australia to invest in our country. These are the things that are happening now, and these are the challenges that we have to meet. We know what's happened with the vaccines. We've seen the terrible ruin in our country. You can't trust Liberal, Labor or the Greens. Get that through your thick heads. Right? And just let me talk about freedom. No one can take your freedom from you because it wasn't given to you by government. Over 100,000 graves of young Australians surround the globe in testimony of the sacrifices that they have done to give you their freedom. They're the only people that have got any rights to talk about our freedom. And in 2022, the trumpet sounds again to a new generations of Australians to take up the mantle. No sacrifice is too great. No task is too big. If we want to protect our country and our family, it's up to us to do it. The government won't do it, and we can't obfuscate that. That's why I've come out of retirement at 68, because I believe in this country, I believe in its people, and my God, we've all got to defend it together. And in the final analysis, the things that unite us as Australians are stronger than the things that divide us. And we've got to remember that we all breathe the same air. We all live on this one small planet, and we all want a good future for our children. And we've got to work together. Of the people that have been vaccinated, that are still dying, some of them from COVID, it's because they haven't got treatments. From your neighbours that may disagree with you and not be enlightened to know what's happening. Don't be harsh with them, but try to convince them in understanding and show them compassion too. Because all they did was have faith in their government, have faith in their system as Australians. They're not bad people. And you're not bad people if you're unvaccinated or vaccinated. You're an Australian. And we don't want to have tyranny in this country where we've got apartheid, where people are divided. We've got to remember, bring them all together. Offer them love. Offer them love and compassion. Put your arms around them. I just come from a meeting where a lady had lost her daughter who was vaccinated within 3 days of the vaccination. I was up at Longman where a lady approached me, distraught, that her and her husband had got double vaccinated, and they decided to do the same thing for their 2 sons that were twins, 7 years old, and they died within an hour of the vaccination. And that's not 20 seconds. I said, they died. But what do you say to a woman like that when you're there with her? How difficult it is if you're in my position, because you are in my position, because you're an Australian too. And because you're here tonight, it means that you care about those people. And this is a serious matter.